G'day everyone and welcome back to my favourite room in the house. Today, I wanted to prove to you that I am not always a cheapskate when it comes to buying classified G.I. Joe action figures. So the story is, for the best part of a week, I've been working away from home in Perth, which is about a 3-hour flight from my neck of the woods in Adelaide, Australia. And I was lucky enough to head to the Collector Zone Toy Fair in Joondalup on Sunday morning with my travelling companion. He's not a G.I. Joe or toy fan at all, but he sort of indulged me by coming along to this toy fair, which was fantastic. And as we walked around, I spotted a couple of classifieds that pulled on the heartstring, and they pulled on the heartstring because I'd been away from home and because my mate, who's not interested in G.I. Joe at all, had come along with me to this toy fair. But the first classified I bought was none other than the first version of Dusty. There it is there. So if you know me, you know my little dog, there he is there, is called Dusty. So I had to have a Dusty in my classified collection. And obviously, I was a little bit homesick at the time. I couldn't wait to see Dusty when I jumped off the plane. So I bought a Dusty action figure. Then as we continued to walk around the fair, I spotted a brand new Big Lob figure. Now, my traveling companion, my workmate, he, as I said, isn't a G.I. Joe fan, but he is a massive basketball fan, to the point where he was catching some of the Knicks Cavaliers playoff games on his phone throughout the week. And when I showed him Big Lob in an attempt to sort of get him interested in something that was happening at the toy fair, he said, "Buy him!" So I did. And for these two, I forked out $45 Australian each, which is about an average price for classifieds here. It's sort of around that $27 to $30 American mark for all of my US viewers. And I'm going to open them both on camera right now for you here. So let's go with Dusty first. And look, this is one of the earlier wave classifieds. He's part of the first 50. He's number 49I. So he's been out quite a while now. I didn't really expect to be able to find this guy, but when I saw him at the toy fair, I was obviously really happy, and because I was really homesick, I had to grab him. So being one of that original, first 50 figures, he's not as, I suppose, tailored or customized on the reverse of the package here. This is all of those characters rather than just a photo of the character himself, which is what Big Lob has here. So this is one of the old school sort of packages. I have my trusty knife here. To be very careful just to nip open the sticky tape on the bottom here, which I've done. And I'm going to pull him out at the customary gobbledygook instructional warranty copyright insert on the inside, which doesn't mean anything at all really. And I'll slide this tray out for you now. Here we go. These ones had this card in the back, which I tend to keep those because they make a nice little backdrop. I've never used the backdrop for photos or anything, but I'm sure I will one day. I've just got a stack of them in a tote somewhere. So I'll get rid of the box and we'll have a look at the figure. Let's pop him out of the plastic. Pre-warning, if you're listening on headphones, this could be a bit grating to the ears, so I do apologise. Let's pull him out. Go with the figure first. Alright, there we go. First impressions, he's cool enough. I'm pretty happy with it. That haircut is pretty sharp. Well, it's not as sharp as some of the other haircuts we've seen in classified, but it's certainly neat and tidy. And I love the fact that he has these paint apps on his face, which the original vintage Dusty had. And look, the camouflage on his outfit, very similar to the vintage Dusty as well. He has a couple of little slots here for weaponry, which I will put in very shortly. He feels nice. I mean, he feels nice enough. The elbows and the knees and the waist and the head, they all feel really nice, easy enough to manipulate. So I'll just stand him up over here while I grab out the accessories. I always struggle to get him to stand up on camera. It's a bit embarrassing. All right, let's have a look. We have a backpack for Dusty, which is a different color to the vintage backpack. This one is a dark brown, like a chocolate brown. Yeah, it literally looks like chocolate. I could eat it. It's Cadbury, it's chocolate. But the original Dusty had a like a khaki brown. It was more like a beige backpack, more like the color of his outfit rather than brown. But look, that's all right. I don't mind that. And look, let's do the old classified backpack test, because classified backpacks are notoriously hard to get into the figure. But this one seems to fit just nicely. There we go. So that's the backpack on Dusty. Let's have a look. What else have we got here? We have his familiar Legionnaire's cap and helmets. This is soft goods on the vintage figure, and whilst it's not officially sort of fabric soft goods, it is nice and pliable and flexible. So look, that works. I'm happy with that. We'll put that on his head. See if it sits on there nice. Yeah, it does stand up a little bit high, so it might need a little bit of manipulation, I think, to get it to sit nicely. So yeah, it sits really high on his head, so might need to sort of heat that up. Sorry, I had it off camera for a while there. I'm just excited to be opening a figure, so I forget to actually do what I'm here to do, which is show you all what it looks like. So as I said, the helmet tends to just ride up a little bit, so it doesn't sort of sit. It's like it needs a little bit of warmth, a little bit of manipulation. So I'll keep fiddling with that after I finish recording this video, and as we push it down and warm it up, it seems to get a little bit better. So yeah, I'm not too upset with that. It looks okay. Pretty happy there. All right, I'll get the little weapon out first. This is the Dusty rifle that is very iconic from the original vintage line. I think these are called a FAMAS, which was an Israeli weapon. It comes with a bipod, which looks like it'll be a lot more difficult to lose than the original vintage jobby. There is a port in there for a round, so a round or an ammunition cartridge. Whoa, I've just popped it out. It went flying across the room. Not too far though. I found it. All's good. All is good. And we'll chuck this in here. Which way does it go? I'm not an expert on weaponry, so I always struggle with this kind of thing. There we go. Fits in that way. Yeah, that reminds me now of the vintage weapon with the cartridge installed. So it's very cool. Should I put it in his hand? Why not? Why not? There we go. I'll just ignore the trigger figure for the sake of the video because it's hard work. I don't want to keep you all waiting. So he can hold it without his finger on the trigger. He's being safe today. He's being very cautious. He's being a cautious Dusty. All right, now we have a couple of other little accessories here. There is a knife here, which by the looks of the figure fits into his boot. So we'll pull that out. It's got a bit of a paint app on it, which is cool. So chuck that in his boot. There we go there. That looks pretty cool. Nice. I can't remember if the vintage Dusty had a knife on his boot. If he did, it would have been sculpted. And I probably should have got it out of the cabinet. Hey, I probably still can. Is he close? Yes, he is close. I will grab him right now. And you might hear my cabinet open. Just kicking things over. Being a bit destructive in my spare room. But yes, I've got him out of the cabinet. And he does have a knife sculpted onto his boot. So here is the vintage version of Dusty. He's got that FAMAS, which I've put in his left hand on the figure. The backpack is a different color, as I touched on before. And the knife is on his left-hand side. I'm telling you all this as Dusty, my dog, has just wandered into the room. He's brought himself a little toy, so we might hear him growling and playing. So I do apologise for that ahead of time if that happens. So there is 2 sets of goggles in here. There's one that looks like goes over the helmet, which is how the goggles look on the vintage figure. You can see there. And there's one that looks like will go over his eyes. Now these goggles seem to be quite fragile, maybe a little bit flexible, so I do want to be careful. There's one set that's come out fairly easily, so that will go on his noggin. And there's one set here which, yeah, I want to be really easy, really, you know, don't want to pull too hard. There we go. He seems to come out all right. All right, sweet. So the reason I was a bit concerned is because there's a little bit of wear on one of these goggle straps. You can see there, just near my thumb. It looks like it's been caught in the plastic, maybe when it was still cooling down or something like that. So that's a bit disappointing, but look, it's not fatal. The goggles are still in one piece. So I'll chuck that on his helmet. Maybe I'll take the helmet off first, rather than try to struggle with it with the helmet on his head. So let's see if these goggles sit firmly enough on the helmet. I'm not. Yeah, I think that's the correct way to put them. Not sure how. How rough I should be with these. I want to be really careful. There we go. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought there for a second because I was concentrating so hard, but they seem to be sticking on the helmet all right as we speak. And I'll put it back on his head. So it looks pretty cool. As you can see, that helmet, it doesn't tend to want to stay on his head very firmly. It sort of pops up a bit, but like I said, I think the more warmth you get into it, the more it'll sort of mold to his head overall. But look, what a great looking figure. I'm actually pretty happy with that. He looks like a fantastic tribute to the original version of Dusty. So very happy there. And a great buy for $45, even if it is a little bit more than what I would usually pay, and is a great reminder of the time that I spent in Perth for work, and is obviously an awesome tribute to Dusty the dog, who is currently throwing a toy around the room. If you can hear him in the background, I do apologise. This is an amateur YouTube channel. Anyways, let's get into Big Lob, hey? Okay, so the first thing I noticed about Big Lob is that his name is Bradley Big Lob Sanders, which makes this figure even better, because the mate that was traveling with me that told me to buy it, you wouldn't believe it, his name is Brad. So this figure, whether it's good or not, it's going to be one that I treasure for a long time, because it is reminiscent of the fact that I spent a week in Perth and I dragged along my mate Brad to a toy fair that he didn't enjoy whatsoever, except for the moment that I bought this figure. And I paid $45 Australian for this guy too. So about that $27 to $30 Australian. That $27 to $30 American mark. So about an average sort of a price. I'm not sure I paid overs, but I certainly paid overs by my standards. I'm the guy that usually gets these things cheap on AliExpress. But look, let's waste no more time. We'll open him up. I'll just pop the tape here. There we go. And we'll slide him out. This is one of obviously the newer styles of packaging. Dusty came from the older style, and these are the new ones where there's a little less plastic. It's a little less bulky. You've got the requisite copyright information in there, as always. And yeah, it comes in a smaller tray, which is, I suppose, a little bit more environmentally conscious. I should have pointed out, there is a QR code to nowhere on the back. Nice artwork on the back and the sides. Big Lob and his basketball. Bit of gobbledygook on the bottom. A box is a box, and I do keep them. I do have them somewhere here. Although keeping classified boxes is quite a challenge because they take up lots of room. So yeah, it's a problem I am coming to grips with as I buy more of these things. Luckily enough for me, AliExpress sends classified figures in baggies most of the time, so I don't have the boxes for a lot of them. So I'm lucky in that respect. But when I do get them in a box, I've got another problem, and that's trying to find a spot for them. So maybe you'd like to tell me in the comments below whether you keep your boxes or chuck them out. I'd be interested to know what the consensus is. So chuck a comment below to tell me what you do. Give me a little bit of advice. So as I pop the figure out here, I've also popped out a little sidearm. I'm going to be more careful because I lost a part from a figure once because it shot across the room. It's in one of my other videos. I did a review on the Marine Sniper. It was very funny. I had to buy two because I lost the little ammo round. It just flew across the room. But I mean, that sidearm looks pretty cool. I'll chuck that in this pocket, which looks like it suits that sidearm. Trying to slide it a bit further up his leg so it stays on, which it does. First impressions of the figure, he feels quite tall. He has very long legs. Let's see if he's taller than Dusty. He is indeed. He's much taller. So this guy in real life would be easily 7 foot. So a nice tall center for a red team in the NBA. What's a red team? Houston Rockets. There we go. Maybe the Chicago Bulls. I was always a Houston Rockets fan when I was a kid. I loved Hakeem Olajuwon. So big lob. Got some Hakeem Olajuwon vibes with that red outfit, red Houston Rockets outfit. But it could be another team. Tell me, who is an NBA team that is red, white, and blue? I'm not a basketball fan. I should have asked my mate, shouldn't I? But yeah, look, he's pretty cool. Oh, these legs are a little bit stiff, so I might have to get some warm water on them. So one knee bends fine. The other one is really locked in hard. I mean, it does eventually bend, but it's there. Oh, his shoes are like real Nike Airs. That is very cool. Love that. He's got a couple of sweatbands on his wrists, which looks like they're fixed. Yep, they are, so they won't come off. He's very muscular for a tall, skinny bloke. He has decent biceps. The arms are really stiff as well, which might be something I need to rectify when the video is done. Head moves alright, that's fine. But look, otherwise he feels really nice. I'm very happy with that. Alright, let's have a look at some accessories here. He has a machine gun, a rifle, a nice little, maybe an M16 or similar, which is very cool, an assault rifle. The cartridge comes out of this one, so I want to be careful with that, but fits in quite nicely. But that's a nice looking gun. It reminds me of the original weapon that the first Duke had way back in the day. It was coloured in a gold sort of finish, but this one is all black and looks nice enough. So I'll chuck that in his left hand. Here we go. I do realise that the finger needs to go into the trigger, but I'm not going to try and waste anyone's time on the video doing that. So we'll just chuck it in his hand for now. What else have we got here? We've got what looks like a flare gun. That's a flare gun. So obviously he'll be able to signal some reinforcements if he runs into a bit of trouble. And this looks like it fits into this pocket on his back, which is very cool. Should it go in that way or that way, I wonder? I feel like it, yeah. Oh yeah, there's a little slot there for the trigger guard, so it goes in that way, which I don't mind. Looks pretty cool. And we have a couple other little accessories in here as well. These are tape bins, so I don't have to worry too much about them going missing straight out of the tray. So slide this knife out, and that's a beautiful looking knife. There's some nice shiny chrome on that blade, so that's pretty cool. We'll chuck that in his side pocket here. Fits beautifully. Look at that. It's very cool. What else have we got? A couple of bits and pieces here. So we've got an extra hand. And this hand is it's sort of like an open hand. So maybe that's for kind of holding the other end of the rifle if you want to pose him that way. So extra hands and heads are always a good inclusion. Also got a little grenade here, which I'll ease up out of the package. Let's have a look. Here we go. So this is a part that would easily go missing, I think. So it's a nice little grenade. Where should I put this? Is there a spot for it? Oh, look at that. There is, on his belt back here, you can see that the belt has a bit of a loop. So the pin of the grenade will sit in the loop, which is pretty cool. I like that. I mean, it doesn't look like it doesn't look very secure, but it's obviously a good spot for it. I'm happy with that. Very cool. Big believer in that all these classified figures should be able to carry all their accessories. There's nothing worse than having a box full of bits and pieces for these guys. And what have we got here? Well, we've got a hand with a basketball attached to it. And so we'll pop that out. Of course, Big Lob is the basketballer. So they have supplied a hand sculpted around a basketball. That's very cool. Maybe I'll be able to stick it straight on there for you. Let's see if we can get this hand out. I'm not the strongest guy in the world, so I do struggle with these from time to time. There we go. Got it. That wasn't too hard, but Big Lob. He's got a basketball. Maybe we'll put it up so it looks like he's going to give it a dunk. He's dunking. Focus, camera. He's trying to pick up Dusty back there. There we go. Whoa! He's Air Big Lob. No, that's very cool. What a great idea for a figure. Great idea in the movie. Should have been in the vintage line. Everyone has said it, but now in classified form, he is fantastic. So they were my Collector's Own Toy Fair pickups in Perth this week. I paid a little bit extra than I usually would for classified figures, but I'm glad I did. For the reasons I outlined earlier, they will hold a lot of sentimental value for me for the years to come. So that's just about all I've got time for today. If you've liked this video, feel free to leave a like on it as soon as it finishes up. You may also like to leave a comment. I love getting involved in the comments on my video. And if you're new to the channel, feel free to hit the subscribe button. I'm on the road to 1,000 subscribers, which would just be huge. It blows my mind that there's 1,000 people in the world that are happy to watch my G.I. Joe crap on YouTube. So feel free to subscribe if you like what you see. Certainly helps get my stuff to more people just like you. And look, if you are already subscribed, I do thank you so much for returning to watch another one of my videos. I have memberships over on my channel as well. They're like $1.50 a month or something like that. I can't even remember what I set up for it. But look, I don't offer any perks or anything like that. I just know that there's some really generous people out there that are happy to support me. And if you want to show your support by becoming a member, feel free to do that. I won't twist your arm, but look, there are a couple of people who are already members and they are on screen right now. I do appreciate them so much. Most of them are YouTube content creators as well, so go and check out some of their stuff if you haven't already. That's it for now. I will see you next time. Yo, Joe.